GM Dabblers, I'm Mel, part of Dabble Club, and I'm here to bring you the latest news surrounding Polygon and Farcaster. If you haven't heard, Farcaster Frames now support Polygon proof-of-stake transactions, so you can start adding this interactivity to your Farcaster publications using Polygon proof-of-stake as your chain to enable transactions directly from the Farcaster clients. So you may be thinking, what is Farcaster, or what are frames on Farcaster? So Farcaster is a sufficiently decentralized network. You can think of it kind of as a Twitter and Reddit hybrid, but with on-chain functionality. You also have a wallet within the application, so you can enable super cool hybrid experiences. So you can see the feed is very similar to Twitter. You have posts, in this case they are called casts. You have actions like replies, recasts, likes, and you also have this cool feature called channels, which you could think of as subreddits or communities, where you can talk and post about specific topics. I'm going to show you a very quick one here, the region channel, which has been very active recently. And what is a frame? So frames are applications that are within a publication or a cast, and they add interactivity to your cast or your publication. In this case, you can enable mints directly from the Farcaster client instead of having to go outside the client and have to use another application or open a new tab. And so what we will do today is create a frame that allows us to send MATIC and also send Shock, which is the Mexican stablecoin, which was created by LaDAO, which I'm a part of. So, okay, let's take a look into the code. We will be using Frog FM. Frog is a super cool framework that allows you to create frames super easily. You can go to frog.fm and check it out. Here's the documentation, is very good. We will be going and use the CLI. We will be using Bun to create this project. So we're going to head to our terminal and start the CLI. We will call this frames Polygon transaction demo. And we will choose the Next.js template because we will be deploying this on Vercel. And then we will follow the instructions. We're going to switch to our recently created folder, install the dependencies, and then we are going to run the development server. How frames work is backend mainly. So let's run the server. It's a backend framework, honestly. It handles post requests from the client, in this case the Farcaster clients where your users are interacting with it, and it goes through routes. So let's take a look at what was created by Frog first. And as you can see, it creates us a Next.js application using the app router, and we mainly have just this route under the API folder. So as you can see, we're handling it on the back end, and we have some configurations here that come by default. We handle also the request. Everything is handled by us. We will only focus on creating these routes. So the main route that's created first is just like a slash route, and let's check it out what comes out of the box from Frog. So we will go here and now run our development server, and we will go to the route that's indicated here, but actually also add the development subroute, like so, /dev. So we go localhost 3000/API/dev, and this is what comes out of the box. It's a very simple frame that changes according to what button you press, apples, oranges, or bananas. You can reset it, or if you enter something into the input field, like I don't know, watermelon, and press a button, now you get watermelon. So we will be using this. I prepared some code, so I'll be right back with the new code. We're going to create one. We're going to update this route, and we will add a couple of transaction routes, which will allow us to send MATIC and send Shock. So let's delete this and place our new code. Okay, so we have added the two new routes here. We have our root route as it was before, just a little update on how it shows, and we'll go through it in a bit. And we have added 2 transaction routes, the one for SendMatic and the one for SendShock. Also, we have added a small UI components that are included by Frog that will help us create the images that are rendered on the client. These images are generated using Satori. We will not go into that. Frog does an excellent job handling that, but it will give us some components to make it easier to create the perceived UI elements, even though it's actually an image at the end. We can think of it a little bit more like a React. So let's go to the route file, and all of this at the beginning is part of the default things from Frog. We will also use the C20 ABI from Vim, which we have just installed, and these elements, these components from the UI folder. Here's the shock token address deployed on Polygon Proof of Stake. And we will hard code the recipient address. This is the double multisig. So this is the recipient, and it's going to be the hard coded recipient for any of the transactions. So if you want to tip Double Club, you can use this frame to tip us. So this is all created by Frog. You just have to add this UI property with the vars obtained from the UI components that we created. Then our main frame is going to be, let me show you. Let's just run this development server once again, and we reload. We should have our new frame, our new image generated. As you can see, we have placed a heading called Polygon Frame TX and just a small text here. Using these components, we can have a little bit more flexibility here using styling similar to a CSS or maybe a UI component library such as Chakra UI, and this allows us to give some more structure to our content. And also we are placing 3 intents. The intents are the things that you can see on the bottom. We have text input and a couple of buttons for SendMatic and SendShock. Each of these buttons have a target for our routes, so this is the way we indicate the frame that we should be targeting these transaction routes. Whenever a user presses these buttons, it triggers a post request to these routes. So this is very simple stuff: SendMatic, SendShock, and then let's take a look how it works. So let's say we want to SendMatic. We have to connect a wallet. 1 second. Okay, so now we have accessed our account. We have some MATIC here and also some Shock. Shock is, like I said, Mexican stablecoin, so we have 25 or 25 pesos. Yeah, let's send some MATIC. You can just enter 1, and it's going to trigger the transaction directly to our wallet. And okay, that works perfectly. And we can track our activity. There we go. It actually shows here in the IDE for Frog. Of course, it's been indexed. So what's happening on the back end? Here on the route, what we need to do is just access the value that the user entered on the input field. So there will be on this one. Anything that's entered here, we can access through it using the context variable, the context object that is given here by Frog. So we can access the input text, and we create the transaction using the send method. We select the chain ID using CAIP/-2 format. The 2 recipient address, we have set it here. Like I mentioned before, it is double clubs multisig. And lastly, the value, which is obtained from the input text. We have to just parse it to Ether using this parse Ether method, which is coming from Vim. And that's as simple as how to do it for SendMatic. On the other hand, the SendShock is a little bit different. We will be still using the input text, but instead of using the send method, we will be using the contract method. Zooming in a little bit more. The contract method it allows us to interact directly with contracts and call functions to them. So here we're using a basic ERC20 ABI. Oh my gosh. So, we will be using the transfer function, and the transfer function accepts 2 arguments: the recipient address, or who is going to be receiving the transfer, and the value that you are actually transferring. Once again, the chain ID in the CAIP -2 format. And lastly, the two argument is the actual address from the token that you want to use, in our case shock. So now let's test it. We're going to do send shock, send transaction, and we are sending 0 shock. Okay, we're going to reject that because we didn't enter the value here, but let's say we want to send 5 shock, send transaction. Now we have some shock here to send, and we have submitted the transaction. You can check on the MetaMask wallet, it's been sent, and we can take a look here and wait a little bit for it to be indexed. There we go. So okay, our frame is working as we expected. Now let's push this to GitHub and Vercel. So we'll head back to our terminal, clear. Let's initialize the repository, git add all, git commit message init repo, create transaction frame. So okay, and we have to set up the repository, and I'll be back showing you the Vercel dashboard. 1 second. Okay, we have pushed our repository and we have created the Vercel deployment. So once we have done this, we can just take the domain that was created for us, and we can head to our Warpcast developer frames validator. So here you can just take a look, and remember always to set the correct URL, which is /API/dev, and you can test here. Okay, this is not working. We need to add the HTTPS. There we go. Missing image URL. Yeah, I was adding the /dev. That's not used here. That's only for the local environment. So now we have our frame here. We can test very quickly. It seems to be working. And let's publish this directly on Warpcast. And I'm pretty sure there's the double channel. And let's cast. So as you see, you can just enter the URL. Let's put some GM dabblers. Here's the frame from the tutorial. If you'd like to tip Dabble Club, just send us some MATIC or Shock, the Mexican stablecoin. It's a cool emoji. Everybody loves emojis. Same as the frame, doesn't matter. So we cast it, and let's take a look. There we go, and let's test our recently shipped frame. Why is it showing like this? Let's refresh. There we go. Send MATIC, continue wallet. Oh, we forgot to put once again the value. Oh yeah, it's not showing. That's interesting. Anyways, so I'll take a look in here. That was very suspicious. Let's take a quick look. Okay, I had to fix. It's weird that it is not showing because evidently in our code we do have text input showing here. For some reason, the frame's not showing it on Farcaster or the Warpcast client. I will submit a bug for that. But we did a small update here in our code and added a fallback, so we can always have like a value. Yeah, this fallback value, 1 for MATIC and 5 for Shock. We can test it once again in the frame. It's still not showing for some reason, but at least now we will have something to send. Continue wallet, and here we will see that we will be sending 1 MATIC, and on Shock we will be sending 5 Shock. So just testing it very quick on the frames validator. That works perfect. So now we can actually cast our frame. So hey, we just created this frame for to show the Polygon transactions. If you want a tip, double club, you can send 1 MATIC or 5 shock. Thanks. And let's not forget our emoji. There we go, and we just place our URL. This is not it. Where's our URL? It's this one. Cast. There we go. Let's view our cast. And now it should be working. We can send 1 MATIC. Perfect. It's using the fallback because it's still not showing the text input for some reason. Continue. And yeah, here it's not gonna show like it was showing before, but we can see that the transaction has been submitted. You can check on the scanner. It's been indexed, and let's also submit a transaction for shock. Continue wallet. It will ask us for the confirmation, and then you have it. Of course, we should do a better flow for our users. Once we have this transaction submitted, we can then redirect to a different frame that shows like, hey, thank you for sending the whatever amount. And let's just take a quick look, see our transactions were successful. This one for MATIC and the shock one too. View an Explorer. Perfect, and we can check our wallet that's been receiving this the MATIC, and as well we are receiving. Oh, this is shock, but from to let's go to this address here, and there we have it. The 1 MATIC received, and also the token transfers for the 5 shock. Anyways, this was a fun tutorial to build. So if this is useful for you, don't forget there's a 500K grants program being launched together with this announcement for any Farcaster frame that you build using Polygon Proof of Stake as your chain. So I hope you liked it. Hope this is useful, and let's keep dabbling with cool tech. And until the next one, peace.